All right, today we're going to be checking out PC Building Simulator. Our next task is to build a computer straight from scratch. So if you're looking to build a streaming PC or gaming rig, here's your opportunity to kind of get an idea on how to build a computer through the virtual world at least. We do have all of our components, so we're going to be building this straight from scratch, straight from the case up. So let's go ahead and pick up our case that we ordered. We ended up ordering a SilverStone PS14 because we got it on the cheap. And this is for a customer that I don't give a damn about. Now, I know we should all be caring about our customers at all, but I'm trying to make that money. As you see in the top right of the screen, it shows I only have about $2,100. So your boy can't afford the nice stuff. So we went ahead and bought a cheaper SilverStone case here. If you take a look at it, it has a nice acrylic front. I don't believe that's tempered glass. It has two USB ports, a head jack, a mic, your power and reset button. Pretty much your basic bland case. Up top, you see right here, you have a spot for a CD-ROM drive. So, I mean, for the computers of today, this probably wouldn't be your best bet because I don't know anyone that uses that anymore, but at least it does have a shroud. We'll see if it has some. There you go. We got some hard drive space back there. So at least we can hide the PSU and the wires, and it has a little opening in the shroud so we can do some cable management. So either way, let's go ahead and crack open this case and start building our PC. I actually got an empty case upstairs. The NZXT H700i. It's supposedly the smart case, but unfortunately, I decided against using it because I really like the way my Fantex P300 looks. I got the tempered glass edition. Its glass is tinted, so it looks beautiful with the minimal RGB lighting. I did not go crazy on my build. I still have to upload a picture to YouTube for you guys to get an idea of what it looks like, but we'll get there. Right now, I got it all decked out with the 4th of July colors. But anyway, let's get back to building this PC. So we ended up getting the Mortoni Z170 M-Tech. It's a LGA 1151 Skylake socket with DDR4 RAM. It is your standard ATX motherboard, so let's go ahead and install this bad boy right into the case. When you're installing IRL, you're going to have a little AIO cover that you're going to snap in here first, because this spot's going to be bare. So first thing you're going to want to do is snap your AIO cover in. Make sure you get it set up the right way. You're going to put your standoffs, because if you put your motherboard right against the case, you're going to fry it. Hey Myrene, what's going on? Yeah, straight fresh build from scratch. Gonna toss in all of our screws here. Sometimes you'll come across motherboards with extra screws that you really don't have to worry about. It's usually 2 at the bottom, 2 in the middle, 2 at the top. So now that we have the motherboard all installed, oh man. This microphone, I gotta switch over to just my mixer, stop using the software, but I just don't feel like going through it. Anyway, so now that we got the motherboard installed, we're gonna go ahead and install our processor. He didn't really say he wanted anything special. I don't believe. What was his? Yeah, so he doesn't want anything special. So we're going to go ahead and give him a bare bones CPU. Nothing special, nothing incredible. Only a 2-core G3900 Celeron Intel chip. So let's go ahead and install that. As we drop it in place, let me see if they got it. So there's a little arrow over here. So you want to make sure that arrow aligns with this arrow. Go ahead, drop it in, close your shield. And then next you're going to want, well, depending if you want to put it in your RAM or if you want to put on the actual cooler. But what I'm going to do right now, because I'm going to put on the cooler, I'm going to go ahead and drop some thermal paste on there. Go ahead, get our standard. This is the standard cooler that usually comes with all your Intel chips. Now we got that on there to cool the fan. We're going to drop our RAM. They want 16 gigs of RAM. So we're going to go ahead and give them 4 4s. No, the chip didn't cost $15. They would only give me $15 if I sold it. I think it only costs like 20, 30 bucks. It only has 2 cores. I didn't get any type of fancy RAM. It wasn't specified. It looks like he just wanted a standard build. As you can see, he just wants it to boot to the OS, 500 gigs of storage, and that's it. So that's why we went with bare bones everything. I didn't even get a GPU because I don't know. I'm hoping they're gonna let me just plug something straight into the motherboard so I won't have to use the GPU, but we're gonna find out. So let's go ahead and spin this around. We're going to take the back off. Now we're going to install our power supply and we're going to hook up all of our cables as well as the 500 gigabyte hard drive that they want. There it is, a nice cheap 500 gigabyte hard drive, nothing special. Drop it right like so, close it. Let's install our PSU. Another bare bones. Oh, well, it's a Cooler Master, so it's a decent. I did get him a somewhat decent power supply at least. Yeah, RAM nowadays is extremely expensive. Extremely. But that's also because everything uses RAM nowadays, so I can understand it. It's just a little unreasonable. So now at this point, we're going to connect our hard drive. We're going to connect via, I forgot what these are called, PCIe cables. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now, but it's basically just to transfer the data. And we're going to give it some SATA power here, connect it straight to the mother or PSU. Now we're going to spin around. We're going to connect our CPU cooler to the motherboard. And then we're also going to have to power the CPU. So it's going to come through this hole. Normally, if you do cable management and it's long enough, it would come through this hole. You would run it along here and run it down here into the shroud. But if you can't do it or you don't have the long cables, it's okay to do that. That's fine too, as long as you can shut it. But I do like they have a little cable management slide here, so things should be fairly neat. So next we're going to connect our power to the motherboard here using our 16-pin connector. If I can, there we go. So now we have power to the motherboard. Power to the computer, the CPU, which is under this fan. We also power the fan by plugging it in here. Last thing we got to connect is our AIO for up here. You got to give power to the front of the computer so you can turn it on and off. So you're going to run that directly to the motherboard, which is also very sloppily done. This, the proper way would have been to run it along here and come up under here. But apparently they don't care. Mid to late 90s RAM was $40 for 1 megabyte. You sure it was that much? Because RAM is really expensive right now. I would have thought it, I mean, it makes sense though, because cost of inflation and everything, and as the sizes grew bigger, they grew cheaper. So yeah, I guess that would make sense. I just bought, well, I didn't just buy it, but for this, I got what, 16 gigs. I think it was going for 180 at the time, closer to 200. But I got it when it was on sale at 180. And it's the RGB Trident 3200. So it's pretty decent size, or it's pretty good for the price I got for it at least. And lastly, thing that we need to connect is our case fan. We're going to connect the case fan to the motherboard and we should be all good, providing this game doesn't force you to install. Providing the game doesn't force you to install a GPU. And it looks like it does. Alright, so the game is going to force us to install a GPU. Thankfully, we have a cheap one. Let's install our cheapest. So 55, 60, 38. We're going to install the MSI Radeon R7. In order for us to do that, obviously, we got to take off this little bracket here. Which technically you could vertically mount, but which one were we going to put in? That one. So we got to take off these two. I think it was this one and this one. There we go. So now we're going to have to power up the GPU, of course. That would go right through the shroud. It looks like for some reason it's not making me screw it in, which is very weird. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now lastly, we can connect our cable to the GPU. Now let's just test it, make sure it boots to the OS, which is the operating system. What does that say? Oh, no OS found. Duh. Now, I don't know if I have the OS on this drive yet, but we're gonna find out. Did I pick up the free For Honor? No, I did click on it and told myself I would download it once I got home, but I got busy and I never got around to it. Thank you for the link though. I'll double check once I'm done here. If it's still there, I'll grab it, but if it's too late, is what it is. I got so many games that I haven't even played yet. But the game would have been cool to have for sure. And there we go. There you have it. The computer's completely built. Hooked up GPU, the CPU, the fan to cool it, all of our RAM. Hooked up our case fan. Hooked up our hard drive, our power supply. And that's about it. We installed our operating system. And that's it. We're good. Now we just got to put together the case. And we can ship this back to the customer. And there you have it. The computer's completely built. So let's go and get some money. And we'll call it a day. So if you did end up watching this video for a quick virtual tutorial, that is how you do it.